What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wanzo Way community session tonight. Today, we're going to be going over lending and credit structure. Plus, we're going to have Terrence, the Truist business banker, here as a special guest. First off, how everybody doing today? What's going on, John? What's going on, Kim? What's going on, Milan? Moraine? I hope I'm saying your guys' name right.
Hello. You guys take your mics off. Say hello.
Hey, everybody.
There they
Hey,
go. There they
There
go.
it is. There
What's
it
going
is.
on? What's going on?
Hope
What's
y'all
up?
ready.
why y'all
Put
don't
it
never
in
turn y'all
gear.
cameras on? Like y'all don't want us to see y'all. This is one family. Like, can we ever see who we're talking to sometime? Can we ever all stick together and be together one time? You notice, guys, you know you're coming to this beat. So you have to put on a hat if you have to like, oh, there we go. There we go. There go Kim. She always gonna show Kim the builder. She got to show her background. You already know what it is. Business credit, business funding. She ain't playing no games. She gonna let you know.
Yeah.
What's going on, Milan? How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, and you? How are you?
Good to see you, man.
Likewise,
Thank you for
likewise.
joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, no doubt. Should be a good night, man. We got a special guest coming on for you guys, and should be very interesting and then an informal night for us. So, um, Brad will tell you what we're going to cover if you didn't hear him. Oh, there's Terrence right there. Terrence.
What's going on, man? I apologize for being in the car. I got stuck in traffic, but I'm here
It's all right. It's all right, man. We're glad you
Oh,
can
that's
make it,
heavy.
man. We see you popping off with the ATL t-shirt.
all day long, baby.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So you guys, just to let you know, Terrence is our guest speaker for tonight. He is the business banker at Truist, and he holds a VP position. I could let him explain to you a little bit more about his position and what he kind of covers. But tonight we're looking to cover some things about. We have a presentation that we're going to go over as well. We're going to let Terrence get into what the Truist Bank services that they have. I mean, products that they have and some of the things that underwriters may look at in order to make you qualifiable or underqualified in order to get successful with business funding. So we had a presentation done after Terrence is done with his speech over going over what's going on with Truist nowadays and how it could be beneficial to us moving forward. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
All right, so check it. All right, so once again, my name is Terrence Albritton. I am a small business direct advisor with Truist. I've been in banking 10 plus years. And so I specifically handle businesses between 2 to 5 million in revenue and TBE. We call that total business exposure. That's when we add all of your credit you have with us up to $250,000. And
You went on mute, Terrence.
On the auction because
You
obviously
went on mute.
for auction
all right.
There you go.
or whatever you
And so I handle up to 250 million in total lending exposure, anything over that. However, I still can quarterback deals smaller than that because I came from that space and being able to help you. So here's what we're going to look at first. So the first thing you got to understand in business lending right now, in this lending environment, you're not going to find a financial institution that is not going to require a personal guarantee. Just not going to happen. When you look at the economy, things of that nature, they're going to require a PG. And so what that looks like is everybody that owns at least 20% of the business has to go on as a personal guarantor, which means we are going to pull your personal credit.
So hold
Here's
on for a
why.
second right there, Terrence. So do you guys see what he's talking about in regards to everybody's going to be required to have a PG? The banks are not letting people just get off the hook and be the only one that's putting skin in the game, right? So whenever you hear someone out there on IG talking about, hey, I can get you business without no actual PG, right? You have to be cautious of who you listen to and why you listen to them. Because a lot of those people, what they end up doing is that if they tell you don't have to be a personal guarantor, then what happens is they're taking that EIN number, that from your business, and putting it in the place of your social security number is supposed to go there. And now you just committed fraud. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. Is that
Right.
correct, Terrence?
Yeah, you are spot on. You cannot believe social media. We get so many calls a day from people that's saying, I want to apply for y'all no doc loan, because people on internet and TikTok are saying that Truist offer no doc loans. Truist do not offer no doc loans. Let me explain what we do. Once we get your loan out and key in the system, it's going to pull your personal credit. It's going to pull your business credit. We're going to run a cash flow analysis. We're going to check to see if you got any liens or judgments. We're going to see your cash flow analysis, make sure that for every $2 you make, you got $1 extra to be able to afford to lend. And we put all of that in the system, and the system in a matter of seconds will determine your underwriting path. And based on all of those numbers, the system will come back and say, hey, we're going to need 2-year returns. It may say, hey, we only need 1-year returns. Or it could say we may not need any returns at all. But we do not know what we're going to need until we key the deal. So what you have is some people who have banked with us for years, got great credit, got solid deposits, and they were able to apply and get approved and not have to do financials. And now they're going out saying, hey, I just got a no doc loan from Truist. But what y'all not telling people is you've been banking with us for 10 years. You got over $200,000 on deposit with us. Like, yeah, we was able to give you some money without acquiring returns, but we do not have a product that's a no doc loan. So here's why we pull your personal credit. We use your personal credit as an indicator of how we feel you'll handle business credit. Don't tell me as a business banker that you're going to pay me better than you pay your own personal debt. You're not. If it came down to you paying your mortgage and paying your business loan, you're going to pay your mortgage. So if your personal credit is not satisfactory, then we're not going to lend you business. It's just the environment we're in. And plus, when they were doing that, somebody defaulted on their business loan, they would just shut their business down, relaunch under another business, get a new EIN number, and they just go back again, and the bank was left holding the bag. So having a PG allow us to say, you know what? If you want us as a bank to believe in your business and your vision and lend you money, then we want you to also believe in your business and be willing to put your name on it.
So guys,
if you're not willing to put your name on your business and your vision, then why should I as a banker do it if you're not even willing to do it?
So guys, what Terrence is saying is that understand that earlier I said you got to put some skin in the game, right? So you have what you call risk factors when it comes to banking. Those risk factors are based upon a number of different things that the banks look at to see if you qualify for certain things that may be required as documentation or may not be required as documentation. And this is why I try to teach and help you guys develop the skills and understand that you have to keep your credit profile, your personal credit profile, in great shape, right? Because if you give them what they want and what they need, then your risk factor becomes very less, and you should more than likely going to be more successful with what you're looking for. Would you agree with that, Terrence?
Yes, you can have no business credit whatsoever. But if your personal credit is satisfactory, I can still give you everything you need on the business end. I can still lend to you. So here's what we do. So I'm going to need 2-year financials. That's tax returns for the last 2 years. I'm going to need interim financials, which is a P&L and a balance sheet. And your loan product have to match your purpose. And so people say, hey, I want a line of credit. Okay. But what you don't realize is the line of credit is only for a specific purpose. Lines of credit are for short-term cash flow needs. Let me say it again. Short-term cash flow needs. How do we define that as a bank? You got to buy inventory. You bill on a net 30. Those are short-term cash flow needs, because what we want to see that line of credit do is revolve. We want to see it go up and down, because all line of credits have a maturity date. And when you get to that maturity date, if that line of credit did not revolve, we're going to term it out, and now you're finna have a fixed payment over 60 months. And so you can't use a line of credit for payroll. You can't. If you're a cash business and you get paid at the time of service, we're not going to do a line of credit. So if you got a restaurant, we know with a restaurant, you buying perishable items, so you're not holding it 30 days and you're getting all your money at the time of service. So we're not going to do you a line of credit, line of credit. And then if you say, hey, I invoice, I got outstanding AR, well, that's why your balance sheet and your P&L going to come in at, because your balance sheet and P&L going to show me what your outstanding AR is. And what people don't realize, I can take your tax returns, your P&L and your balance sheet, and there's a calculation I can do that will tell me how long it takes you from the time you invoice to the time you get paid. I just had somebody I had to decline on a line of credit, and we had to move it to a loan because based on the financials they sent me, I was able to determine it only take them 15 days to get paid. Well, if you're getting paid in 15 days, you don't have a cash flow need, so I can't do a line. So I can still get you 200, but that's going to be a loan. We're going to give you all the money up front. You're going to have a fixed payment over time because you don't have an established cash flow need. So it's not about whether or not you just want a line. We have to be able to establish a cash flow need. And so if your business got a true cash flow need, your personal credit is solid, and your tax returns are where they need to be, we can lend. Here's the last thing I'm going to tell you.
Hey, Terrence, real quick, so they don't get confused, please let them know what an AR is, just in case people don't know.
Oh, accounts receivable. So that's basically people you've invoiced. So let's say if you say I invoice my customer, I'm actually for an account receivable statement, which show me how much you have outstanding. Now, here's the other part. Stop going to tax preparers and go to CPAs, certified public accountants, because your business may show a loss, but there are certain things I can add back in. So if you got depreciation or inventory costs, I can look at your business and look at your net income and be able to tell that based on your line of business, you shouldn't have this much net income, or based on your line of business, I don't see the deductions that I need to see, and there's not enough depreciation. People who just understand taxes and not accounting don't understand all those different buckets that go with your industry. So you really need to find you a CPA and not just somebody who know how to do taxes.
You guys follow that? There's a major difference, right? You guys got any questions at that point before we continue to go into any more of the conversation in regards to the difference? Go ahead, Donovan.
When it comes to the financial, would you accept an executed one or a preliminary one?
Tax returns, they got to be filed.
Got to be filed.
Yes.
So all right, fair enough.
Okay.
Because think about it. You can go buy TurboTax, put some numbers in the system, and send it to us.
Yeah, but what if it's certified by
send those comps and
can you mute that, Brad? Go ahead.
What if the preliminary is certified by a CPA? Would that be acceptable?
On certain cases, yeah. If you've already banked with us and you got a history with us, then yeah, there may be some cases where we can take that. But if you're new to the bank and your first interest into us is lending, then we're gonna scrutinize that a little bit more, because we're gonna always look at it like, why is your current bank not lending to you? Why are you coming to us to lend as a new customer? And you've been in business for 4 or 5 years, why isn't your current bank approving this deal for you?
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. Terrence, go ahead if you have some more to share with us.
No, that was it. Outside of that, what happens is when I get all of that from you, we take it and we run spreads. The spreads let us know how much the business can afford. It let us know whether or not the request you asking for is in line with your cash flow, and it give us a bunch of other internal numbers. And based on that, we'll approve it. Once approved, the loan is completely under the tax ID. It does not show up under your personal credit. Doesn't affect your personal debt to income ratio in no kind of way. We only pull your credit in the beginning as a part of the underwriting process. Once approved, it does not affect you personally unless the loan defaults.
And how many years does a business have to be? What are some of the
2
guidelines out there
years.
for business?
You got to be in business at least 2 years.
And what does that entail when you say in business?
Register on. We're going to use a Secretary of State registration to prove how long you've been in business.
Okay. And if in fact there's a business that has not been registered for 2 years, can you do anything like that? And what is the earliest or the limited amount of
So if you was in business before you registered, then if you can supply us with invoices or something showing that you were actually running your business prior to registering your business, then we can date your business with that. Because if you're under 2 years old, we limit you to $25,000 exposure on what we would lend to you.
But you would still lend to it though.
Yes.
Okay. And are there any business that you look at as being high risk that you guys really just look at as a red flag that pretty much have a difficult time getting
I mean, yeah, anything that deal with cannabis, anything that deal with money services, if you cashing checks, lottery, things of that nature, we'll open your lottery account, but you're not going to be able to do any lending. Tattoo parlors, we don't lend anything that's high risk or like I said, if you're a cash business where you get all your money at the time of service, we won't. No, dump truck is fine. We love transportation.
So anything with transportation or logistics is not considered high risk, or is it just dump truck?
No, transportation is not considered high risk. Now, line of credit is very difficult to get approved for those type businesses because y'all don't typically run on the 30-day cycle. But we can do loans, vehicle loans, things of that nature with transportation. Transportation businesses, we can do credit cards with pretty sizable amounts to help you with the fuel. So we love those businesses. Businesses that we don't like is consulting, things of that nature. You got something with consulting in it, or something with auto sales in it, or something that has to do with credit repair, then no, we're not gonna be able to do too much.
Those credit cards that you guys offer right now, do you have are one of those credit cards have 0% interest for a certain amount of time and on the business?
Yeah, so our regular Truist small business card has 12 months, no interest, and the cash rewards, which is our most popular card, offer 9 months of no interest, and neither card has an annual fee.
Okay, and both of those businesses are available for new businesses.
Yes, they are available for new businesses, and it's totally dependent upon your personal credit.
Okay. All right. Based upon the
hold on 1 second. We got Chayla who has a question before you guys move any further.
Go ahead.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. My question was, you mentioned about the businesses that you guys like. Well, what about healthcare?
We love healthcare. It's just that the in-home healthcare can be a little problematic. And here's what you got to realize, any area where people jump in, there's a lot of fraud in it, it's going to be a red flag. So the in-home healthcare, they can be a little difficult, especially if we knew. A lot of times we will get a resume from you and want to see how long you've been in business, being able to prove that you got the experience necessary. And if we can improve that, then we should be fine.
Okay. And what about with the line of credit? I'm sorry, I have one more question. Is that okay?
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
So with the line of credit, you said y'all like to see it go up and down. Like, is there like a certain time frame you like to see it go up and down within 30 days or within 60 days?
No, it's not. We just want to see it revolve. But that's why I try to tell people, you got to know the difference between whether or not you need a loan or you need a line of credit. Let's say you say I need $30,000. If you know you got a $30,000 need right now, you need to do a loan.
Okay.
That way we just give you all the money up front. You got a fixed payment over time, and your interest rate is lower. If you got a line of credit and you max it out, that's tied to prime. And if you didn't notice today, like the Fed just dropped prime, anytime you see or notice that the federal prime rate has either dropped or increased, that means your payments on your credit cards and line of credit is going to either go up or down because they are prime plus. So it's prime plus basis points that the banks add on to it. And so that's where you got to go back to need.
Okay.
Do I need all this money up front, or do I need a little overtime that I can pay back? And that's how you determine whether or not you need a line of credit or a loan.
Okay. And what about increasing? Let's say you do have a line of credit. What about increases? Because like you said, with
Well, yeah,
loans, it's a fixed payment.
if you've maintained your line appropriately, we can increase it. So typically, we will approve 2 months of your gross revenue for a line of credit. So for a quick calculation, look at what your business does for the year, gross, divide by 6, and that's the maximum amount we would consider lending.
Okay.
So let's say if your business does $300,000 a year, the maximum amount we would consider lending is $50,000. 300,000 divided by 6 give you 50,000.
Okay.
You guys understand what a prime rate is?
Mhm.
Anybody? Terrence, can you elaborate
Yeah,
on
so
that?
the prime rate is the floor rate that the government say we can charge. So right now it just got lowered to 4.5. So that means, when you go apply for something, your rate is not going to be lower than 4.5 because that's the prime rate. So oftentimes it's going to be prime plus. And so the bank may say, hey, we're going to charge 6 basis points on top of prime. And so as opposed to your rate being 4.5, we're going to charge you 10.5 because we're going to put 6 basis points over it. Every now and then you'll get somebody to go below prime, but you got to have real excellent credit to get below prime. But most of the time it's going to be prime plus. So that means on your credit cards, most credit cards are typically around 18, 19%. Some of these daily loans and this high interest stuff, you're paying 23, 24%. To me, once you get over 20% interest rates, you're renting money. You'll never own it because so much of your money is going toward the interest, especially when prime is only 4.5. That means that other interest on top of that is going straight to the bank.
Did you guys understand that? And the difference between prime and points that's put on top per the institution that's utilizing at that time? Because it's very important that you understand that, right? Because every institution is not going to have the same rate because it's got to come from the prime is going to be the same rate, but what they put on top is not going to be the same rate. So you always need to be able to shop around and find the best rate for what you're looking to do and what you're looking to use it for. You guys got that? Got any questions about that? This is very important. All right. Donovan?
I have another question independent of this, and it's more personal. I'm not sure this is the format, but you can start.
I wouldn't do that. You can send it to Andre. Andre, you can drop my information in the chat, and you can reach out to me directly or to Andre, and we can get that information to you.
Yeah, you just, guys, if you have anything for Terrence, just filter it through us, and then we'll take care of it. All right. Anything like that, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, but the question is a great learning opportunity. It's a learning question.
Oh, if you don't mind sharing, go ahead.
Yeah. He thought you were trying to share something personal.
Yeah. Gotcha. Now for example, if you have two business with Truist, and you're applying for a loan through one account, does Truist look at your other business or it just evaluate you independently?
Well, we're gonna ask you for your returns, and your returns are gonna show us both businesses and whether or not both businesses are profitable and making money. Now, there are some situations. Let's say if you got business A and business B, and let's say business B is not doing that well, but business B is the one you want to do the loan on. Then what we can do is we can apply under business B, and we can use business A and the owner as guarantors to strengthen the deal to get approved through B. So there's some ways around it.
Gotcha.
That's where my job come in at. I figure all that part out.
Thank you.
So guys, you need to understand that when you got multiple businesses as well, that all those businesses for the maximum
have to be on your returns. I'm sorry.
Yeah, have to be on your returns. But during the course of those being on your returns, you're going to have individual Schedule Cs for each one of those businesses. Why this is important? Because if in fact business A goes to go get a loan or line of credit or any type of funding, then business B later on down the line don't have to produce certain documentation because it's already within their system. All right. So you should have that all your businesses listed in one document when it comes to taxes, and just have individual Schedule Cs. You guys got that? Because the people that missed this call tonight is missing some valuable information, and they're going to be sad because I told everybody I was bringing on the business banker. What we're doing right now is sharing information that's very critical, and it's going to be needed in order for you to get the funding that you're looking for. And that's
And
why you
so,
need to understand what products are for. That's why he's telling you the difference between a line and a credit, the difference between a loan and a credit card. Things have to have a purpose, right? And if you utilize them for what the banks are actually putting them out there for, then they're more than they're more than happier to give them back to you if you need them again. Is that correct, Terrence?
that's correct. And so before I leave, because I am in the car,
Yeah, that's cool.
here's what I would tell you. I've worked with Andre for a couple of years. Andre understands the requirements of Truist in putting together a correct package to be underwritten. Because what you want to do with underwriting is give the underwriter everything they need up front, so while they only got to touch your deal one time. Andre understands what we need and require, and we have had a bunch of successful opportunities. And so if I could say anything before I jump off, is if you're interested in lending with Truist, make sure you get with Andre before you submit a deal. And here's the last thing I'm gonna say. If I don't ask you for it, don't send it. I had a client that I had approved and did not require documentation, but because they sent me the returns, I had to underwrite it and review it, and his business lost money. And we ended up having to decline his loan because his returns showed the business lost money when I had him approved without having to require returns.
So, you guys got that? One last thing, Terrence, so they'll be well aware. You there, Terrence?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Let them know the successful loan I just did and how much it was.
All right, so I'm gonna cut the camera back on before I get out the car. We just got approved a client for a $300,000 line of credit
There you go. So
in
when he
2
says
weeks.
when he says I know what to do, what they're looking for, understanding, that's why you deal with somebody that's already in the business, has the relationships, and help guide you through this, right? That's why you never walk into a bank alone. You walk in with somebody that has those type of relationships. Terrence, we appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for taking out the time to join us. I'm sure we're gonna have a slew of questions that I'm gonna be sending your way.
Hey man, I'm on the next call. Just let me know. I'm on there, and I'm gonna make sure I'm stationary.
Yeah, and maybe we can go through that presentation too, that we have in order to show them some other things as well. All right,
Will do.
Can we thank Terrence before he goes? Everybody turn their mic on, please.
Big T, appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Terrence.
you.
So the reason why I
Thank
sent
you.
you that information, because that was
Thank you.
All right, Terrence, I will give you a call. Thank you, my brother. All right. Everybody can turn their mic on. Did you guys get any information out of that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it was very helpful. I forgot to ask him about double dipping.
Thank
I've
you
had
so
to
much,
send-
everybody. I really
had to send my
appreciate it.
son.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, thanks
Okay.
a lot.
So good. So you guys found it valuable, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So in regards to double dipping, right? There's always been a mystery to me when it comes to Truist, just to answer your question, because in the Philadelphia area, they said you can double dip, but I know in Atlanta that's not possible. Okay.
Mhm.
And so what happens is that for every product that you want, then there's inquiry that's going to be involved. Okay. So if you want a line of credit, hard pull. If you want credit card, hard pull. If you want a loan, hard pull. So let me explain to you why. Every bank has different departments, right? And each one of the departments, unfortunately, don't trust one another. Okay. So if something happens, there's only one department they can go to when it comes to documentation or any type of fraudulent activity that could possibly take place. Make sense? So you can't say John did it, Frank did it, Nelly did it. No, the application only came to Shelly. So Shelly, you have to tell us what happened with this documentation. Why did this go through and what happened? So it's a reason for that. All right. That's why they don't allow a lot of people to double dip. Did you guys understand that? Okay. Any other questions? You guys are quiet tonight. We just had a business banker on the phone. You guys are quiet. And Miss
Yeah,
English
too.
came late. You in the truck? Damn.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was literally right in the middle of the shipper. So I just got back in my truck.
Well, we happy for you to join us.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Before we switch gears, do we want to close this out? Or you guys got any questions for me or anything that's pertaining to Truist and what the business bank was talking about before we close this out and go on to the presentation? Because tonight's session is really based upon understanding what our goal is. Our goal is to go after what this gentleman just mentioned. And as he just told you guys, I was able to get somebody over $300,000 in funding, and that was with one inquiry. Okay, we're not talking about multiple credit cards. We're not talking about multiple lines of credit. We're not talking about multiple loans. We're talking about one. All right. So in order to get yourself in that situation, you have to be in position. And the only way to get in position is understanding your personal credit. I can't say that enough. That's why he was stressing the fact that even if you ain't never had business credit and your personal credit is in shape, they're gonna mess with you, right? There's too many businesses out here that startups that will never get any type of funding if you already have business credit. How are you supposed to get it? So they have to use a PG, they have to use a personal guarantor, right? So your personal credit is more important than your business credit. You guys catch that? Now, I'm going to show you and teach you and to help you understand how to think like an underwriter, how to beat them, right? If you want access to all these banks' bank accounts and the products that they have, you have to understand what they're looking for and be in position to give it to them. Like if I walk into Truist right now, they're going to give me what I want. I got a whole bunch of money out of Truist. I got a whole bunch of money out of Bank of America. I got a whole bunch of money out of a whole bunch of banks, actually, because I understand their products and I understand what they're looking for. And you can do the same thing. All you have to do is pay attention to what's going on in this group. Be patient. Don't rush into things, right? Don't put yourself in a situation you don't have to be in. If you got the opportunity to get money, don't take it if you don't need it, if you don't have a need for it, right? Now, I will tell you that in my position, what I will do, right? I will go get a credit card, right? If it's 12 months interest free. Maybe go find a project to put it on. But a line of credit, you never pay on it. You only pay on it if you use it. And if you got a $100,000 line of credit and you're only using 3,000 of it, well, guess how much you got to pay on it? On that 3,000, not the whole 100,000. But if you got a $100,000 loan, you have a fixed payment every month that starts immediately. You see what I'm saying? And a good example of that is that I'm into real estate. So if I need 100 grand to go flip a house, I know it's only going to take me like 90 days to complete that project. Okay? So I can go get a loan because I know that I'm going to have that money to fix the house and turn that around in a short amount of time. Make sense? But when you need something that's adjustable, then you get a line of credit because it's going to go up and down over a period of time. And keep in mind, when you're talking about a loan and a line of credit affects your utilization. Okay? That's what it affects. A loan doesn't. So a lot of times what we would do, we'd go get a loan to pay down high interest credit cards so the utilization got down and we can go get more lending from other institutions. You guys catching that?
Yeah.
This community is all about strategy, but you have to know how to think. You have to know how to make rational decisions. You have to know where to go, who to go to, why you're going to them. Those are critical. You guys got that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So do you got any questions for me before we move on into the presentation that Darren's going to present? Because again, we want to make sure that you understand much as you can about your personal credit. All right. It's very, very important.
I have a question. Utilization on your business side, how is that viewed in terms of maxing out?
It's viewed the same way, except for they just know it's a business, right?
Yeah.
So you can max out stuff on the business side, but you can't keep it maxed out. They're going to look at it just like you do your personal credit. So when you say utilization, understand this. Utilization is not reported to Dun& Bradstreet. They don't care about that. But utilization is reported to Experian Business Credit, Equifax Business Credit, and it's reported to the Small Financial Business Exchange, which pretty much houses all of the information for most financial institutions in the country. Now, the Small Financial Business Exchange is not a C to B, it's a B to B. So you don't have the opportunity to see that information in there. Only other companies like a Truist, a Bank of America, things of that nature have the opportunity to see information inside the Small Financial Business Exchange. However, you can see Dun & Bradstreet, you can see Experian, and you can see Equifax. But I want you to keep one thing in mind, Donovan. All creditors do not report to each one of those business reporting agencies, okay? You might have a credit card like American Express. You know where they report to? Experian Business Credit, okay? You know what Truist report to? Equifax Business Credit. You see what I'm saying? It's not going to go across all three like your personal credit. And this is one thing I want you guys to be mindful of. It's very important that you know this. All right. When you look at your personal credit report, you can actually see the accounts and the information of who your actual credit, who you have credit with, and the amount of money that you owe, the dates, times, all that stuff, right? When you look at a business credit profile, none of that is shown. It's only shown inside of the Small Financial Business Exchange because it has to be. The reason why, I want you guys to understand something. There is no Fair Credit Act for business credit. Did you catch that? Kim? Kim, you there, Kim? She ain't paying us no attention. Did you guys catch that? I want to make sure you guys understand what I just said. It's very important. There is no federal law, Fair Credit Act for business credit. So you can't go after nobody like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Wild Wild West.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just go put in a complaint. Now you complain, like, for example, I had an error on one of my business profiles, right? And all I did was called into Dun & Bradstreet and said, this is incorrect. They didn't even argue. They just fixed it. Now, who was it with? I have the slightest clue. You don't believe me? Look at a report. You're not going to see anything. You can go on NAV. NAV's not going to show you who it is. It's going to say you got credit cards. You got a loan. That's all it's going to say. It's never going to say a name of a bank. It's never going to say a name of no institution. The way you figure that out is that you look at how much money do you have on one of your business credit cards? How much money have you spent on one of your business credit cards? Then you can say, oh, this is Truist or this is Bank of America. Now you get what I'm saying? That's the only way you're going to figure it out because there's not going to be any names attached to it. You guys got any questions about that before we move on?
Yeah, John got a question.
Yeah, so how do you dispute if there's something on your business credit, but you can't figure out where it's coming from?
So what it is that you identify what that account, you identify the account. Whichever way it's displayed within their system is the information that you tell them that you want to dispute. Because you will never know who it is. So if you had a late payment on, John. So if you had a late payment on something, you just go inside of there, right? Depending on depending on the agency, and you just dispute that account. Like if it's a late payment, just say I was never late, and then ask them to prove it if I was late. And then if they say, well, you was late, well, I need to know who's saying that. Who's saying it? You can't just tell me I was late and I ain't got no right to dispute it. So what they gonna do? A lot of times they just delete it or fix it. You don't want them to delete the account, you want them to fix it. I meant to call you about that. Yeah, that's how you do it. Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead, Donovan.
So do you encourage us to kind of run our business report as well, the same way we monitor our personal?
Say it again, Donovan. I couldn't hear you.
Do you encourage us to run our business report, like our business credit report, the same way we run our personal, just to kind of monitor that? Or is that a recommendation? Or
Yes, Donovan, I paid so much in monitoring credit monitoring systems for business and personal. That's the only way I was able to access the stuff that I need because I know exactly what's going on. I know exactly what credit bureaus go to. I know exactly what my credit score is. You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I know all these things. You can't know all these things. You have to be able to invest in yourself and actually look at this information and have it ready for when you get ready to execute. You check all that before you execute.
Yeah, and I also subscribe to Nav, but I don't think that for paid subscription, but I'm not sure if I'm getting the right information that's needed.
They have 3 tiers. They have tier 1, 3, 2, and 3. I can't give you exact names, but you always want to pick tier 2.
Yeah, and
so you might got 1.
Yeah, so that's the one that reports to your
yes.
Yeah, but I don't think it gives me like more of a comprehensive, like to see what's on the report. I don't know.
It does, because I have it. You're probably just not pushing the right buttons and looking at the right information, but it does. Now, the only thing about NAV right now, it does not report, report Dun and Bradstreet anymore.
It doesn't do that.
It only reports Equifax and Experian.
Mm-hmm. Any recommendations for Duns and Bradstreet to get their report? Should I go directly with them or?
Yes, just go straight to Dun and Bradstreet. The account is free anyway. Just don't let them sell you anything because they're gonna have to tell you something. You don't need to buy it.
Sure.
Anything else? Kim ain't paying us no attention tonight, Brad.
Nah, I ain't heard nothing from her. I ain't heard a piece.
Kim.
Hey.
You ain't paying us no attention tonight.
No, I got 2 calls going at the same time. I'm paying
We was over here calling your name. We was over here calling your name. Somebody said they want to build and build.
They're putting you on blast, Kim. They're putting you on blast.
Somebody said they want to build and build. You wasn't paying no attention.
I just got out my real estate call at the same time. So
somebody
I'm doing both.
Did somebody ask for building to be built or not?
What y'all need from me though? I got you. What you need?
Marlon wanted to build and build.
Well, let's build it. What we building?
Marlon, go ahead, tell her, man. She think we lying. She wanted to build and build, and Miss English was on deliver the goods.
Listen, I got you. I'm ready when y'all ready. Let's get this money. We get the building
tonight. That ain't right. No, we just messing with you though.
I'm here though. The Truist was fire. I'm just trying to make sure I get everything.
Appreciate it. So you guys got any more questions for me before we move on to the presentation? Because the presentation is just to cover more about personal credit, make you understand a little bit better. Some of the things that you may use in order to enhance your personal credit and also to attack certain areas that may be causing you problems. Okay. So you guys good with me? You got any questions before we go? Okay. All right, Darren, the floor is yours.
Let's go. Okay, let me go ahead and do my presentation, pull it up here real quick. All I can say was Terrence with some gems tonight. I hope everybody's taking notes. So one thing I can say, what I took away from that, information can really change situations. You guys got to really prepare before you walk into these banks and understand what is going on with your credit report. So we covered the lending side of things. I want to really kind of hammer in on the credit structuring side to make sure that we are fully on the same page. And so with that, I know a lot of people will go and use these, bank credit monitoring services and different credit monitoring services. I highly suggest you guys getting a very accurate version of your credit report, whether you're looking at your Vantage scores or you're looking at your FICO scores. Make sure that you're using the most accurate version of your credit report and updated version of your credit report so you can see what is going on. If you don't know what that is, you guys can always come over to smartcredit.com. They show you actually your three credit reports and 3 credit scores side by side. So you can really compare everything that's going on with each bureau at the same time very easily. They give you full-blown credit monitoring. So they'll give you an updated version of your credit report once a month. If you want to update it more than that, I think it's like $16 or something like that. But you guys can actually jump in there and get a little trial for $6 for 7 days to kind of look at your credit report, analyze everything, and make sure you're good before you walk into these banks. So if you use that smartcredit.com/Agora Enterprise, you can actually get it for $6 and kind of see what everything that's going on with your credit report. So based off of what I'm about to cover, you're going to see a lot of examples of what you'll see inside of Smart Credit as far as looking at your credit report here. Okay. So the first thing is one of the first things that I do before I even touch a credit report and do anything is look.
Can you share your screen one more time?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you guys were seeing it. My apologies. Give me 1 second.
So they didn't see it at the beginning?
I thought they were seeing it. My apologies, guys. I thought it was on here. Let me go back.
And make it full, Darren, if you can. Can you know how to make it
Yeah,
full?
I just had it full. I had to bring it down to show you guys. All right, can everybody see now?
Yeah,
we good? Can everybody see?
So they'll know what you're talking about, by the way.
Okay, cool. So this is Smart Credit site. And right at the bottom, you can see smartcredit.com/Agora Enterprise. If you guys want to go ahead and get that trial, $6 trial for 7 days to kind of just check your guys' credit report out. I always recommend keeping this thing. I mean, this is like literally your reputation. This is giving you full access to what these people are saying, what these companies are saying about you. So you really want to understand what's going on with your credit report, not right before you get credit, but way before you need the credit so you can prepare to get that credit, okay? Because it does take some time. If you need to get something off your report, it is going to take some time. So it's much better to know and start working on that before you need the money than needing the money and then finding out there's something on your report, right? So let me jump to the next one here. So like I was saying before.
About that slide? Anybody? You guys are good? Okay, move forward. Cool. Go ahead.
All right, so what I was saying before is, before we even touch the credit report, the first thing that we're looking at is to make sure that this person can possibly be identified by these banks, because again, they don't know you from Adam. They're going off of your credit report. This is an adult version of your report card, So what they're looking at is to make sure that, hey, they know 100% who you are. Okay, full first name, last name, because there is people with the same name as you, and there has been things called tri-merging where a file can be merged. So they want to make sure that they know exactly who you're dealing with. So you don't want to have any aliases of your names on there, any misspellings of your name, any backward spellings of your name, anything of nature of other than what your true name is on your ID. You need to remove that and have just one name across all 3 credit bureaus. The next thing that they're going to be looking at also is making sure that you have consistency in your residency. Okay, you don't need to let them know that, hey, I lived at XYZ address for 2 years. Now I live at this address and I lived at the other one previously. One address on file. You don't want to look like you're inconsistent. You've been jumping around. One address on file. That is it. So one name, one address on file. That's it. That's all they need to see. They want to possibly know where you live, where you stay, and possibly know who they're dealing with. The next thing is their employer. I like to leave this completely blank because if they're really trying to verify your income, what are they going to ask for? Your W-2s, your tax returns, bank statements even. They're not going to go on your credit report and be like, okay, cool, we know where he worked at. We're good to go. No, that's not going to happen. But what can happen is if you do have a collection on your credit report, they can't use this as means to contact you now because now they know where you work at and they may want to try to contact you from your job. They might want to contact your job if they sued you and they got a garnishment against you and try to collect wages against you. So this is kind of helping them and making it easier for them to come after you. So one name, one address, leave your employers blank. Okay.
You guys got any questions about that? Do you guys hold on for a second, Darren? Do you guys go back to that for a second, Darren?
But
do you guys understand what a tri-merge is? Anybody?
Yes, he just said the tri-merge is when it's a person with 2 people have the same kind of name, and even though they don't know each other from Adam, they could get their information merged together to make it as one person.
Okay, but a tri-merge in another form is the ability to merge all 3 of your credit reports together and come up with a middle score. That's what they use in real estate. Okay. So they're gonna take the high score, the low score, then the score that's in the middle is actually your score that they're gonna use to do any type of financial banking with you. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Cool. So cool. We got that. So if you guys are looking to do this on your own, you 100% can. You can do this at any given time, limited times you want to. You can literally send them a simple personal information update letter. It's going to look like this. Brad, if you want to drop that in the chat, I don't know if you did that already, but there's a personal information update letter that you can simply fill out, copy and paste your information in there, whatever your address is, whatever your name is, and tell them to remove any of the other information that's inaccurate from what you're providing them. Okay. So you can mail this off. It usually takes them about 7 to 10 business days to get all the information and update in the records if you're doing the mail route. Sometimes, you want to move with speed and you need something done right away. You can go ahead and give the credit bureaus a call. All three of the numbers right here at the bottom. You can call them. You can identify yourself over the phone, each one of them, and let them know what your information is, what your name is, what your address is, and ask them to remove that stuff. That can be done in as little as 24 hours to 72 hours of updating that, just doing it over the phone. Okay. Let's jump to the next one here. Another one that you also want to do is sometimes if your information is not heavily in the database, you can go and contact these secondary credit reporting agencies because everybody knows about TransUnion here and Equifax, but there's a lot of other companies out there that know a lot of information about you and share a lot of information about you. So for example, Factor Trust is a really popular one. They're actually owned by TransUnion. A lot of different companies will do this. So sometimes, you see these no credit check lenders, and they may not even check your credit report and they'll just give you a small monetary amount of money. And they're just using these secondary lenders to verify your personal information and make sure that you are who you are. So Factor Trust is owned by TransUnion. You have Clarity that's owned by Experian. You have DataX that's owned by Equifax. These are secondary credit reporting sites. These are also companies that they will turn to verify your information, whether it's negative or your personal information. So depending on what you're trying to do, if you're trying to get a loan and your credit is good, you want to be opting into these companies. If you're trying to fix your credit and remove negative things, you want to be opting out of these companies. Okay. So these are the different companies you can go into. Another one is Check Systems. So Check Systems is a very big one. So when you want to go and get a checking account, you want to go get a savings account with any of these banks, a lot of these banks are using Check Systems now. A lot of them are using Check Systems. Check Systems is going to be reporting your banking activity. So if you owe Wells Fargo some money on a checking account and you ran off and decided not to pay them because it was some overdraft fees that you didn't agree with and you just didn't want to deal with it, and then a month later you go and run over to Bank of America and open up an account, Bank of America's going to be like, no, we pulled your Check Systems report. We seen what you did to Wells Fargo. We're not going to let that happen to us. So you want to be checking your Check Systems report to make sure, and these are two common things. Make sure that you don't have any, debts owed that they're reporting at Check Systems. And then also some of these banks out here that you want to open up accounts with that they're not going to give you any kind of lines of credit or credit cards unless you open an account with, they're going to be inquiry sensitive. Some of these banks will not open up an account if you have too many inquiries on Check Systems. So this is another thing you want to do before you start opening up these accounts is pull your Check Systems report, make sure you don't have too many inquiries, and make sure you don't have any kind of debt reporting on your Check Systems report. Okay. Any questions on that? Cool. Let's jump on. So personal information that you want to basically make sure before you're going to these accounts, you want to make sure that you have the right accounts and make sure that you're removing all the wrong accounts off your credit report. So one of the first things you want to be looking at always is your open accounts. Okay. A lot of people get so caught up on a credit score of, oh, I want to get a 750 or 800 and all that stuff. A lot of that stuff won't mean nothing if you don't have a credit report to back that up. I've seen people with the 720, 700 get denied and somebody with the 680 get approved because their credit report was stronger. What do I mean by that? By having the right open accounts in their credit report, having the decent amount of open accounts in your credit report. So ideally, you want to come in with about 6+ open accounts at any given time on all 3 credit reports. If you come in with 2 accounts with a 700 credit score, what they can come back and do is deny you and say your profile was too thin. We don't have enough information to go off of to see if you're really trustworthy or not. You've only dealt with 2 people or 2 companies. And so what I relate to open accounts is like references on the resume as people you personally know vouching for you and saying, hey, this person is good, because this is your financial reputation. So they're looking to see how many relationships you've established with different industries and different banks, that are saying positive things about you. And if enough say that, then cool. They don't have to pay Christopher Columbus. They know that you're trustworthy because other companies are saying this, okay? So 6+ open accounts at any given time. Next thing you want to look at is delinquent accounts on your credit report, seeing if you have any delinquent accounts. So when you see this, and if it shows 1 in here, or 2 on here, that doesn't mean it's 1 account with 2 late payments. That means it's 2 separate accounts with reporting at least 1 late payment on it. Okay, at least 1 late payment on it. And so you want to completely remove that. Okay, anything, especially within the last 2 years, is going to dramatically affect your scores if it's a late payment. So we want to make sure we get those gone. You have a 30-day late, a 60-day late, a 90-day late, a 120-day late, a 150-day late. After 150-day late, they usually will deem the account, 9 times out of 10, they're going to deem the account as uncollectible, and that's when it will start becoming a derogatory account. And this is where you'll see your derogatory accounts right here. A derogatory account is the highest form of a negative thing that they can say about you. Okay, this is them basically saying you completely screwed us over. There's no way that we're going to get any money from you, and we had to basically do other means without you to try to recoup our money because we know you're not going to pay us. So a derogatory can lie as a charge off. It can rely as a repossession, a bankruptcy. You know, all these things can be considered derogatory marks. Just one of these derogatory marks in your credit report can completely destroy your scores and completely stop you from getting approved for things. So we want to completely wipe that stuff off. Another thing that we want to be conscious of is our inquiries. So you have soft inquiries, you have hard inquiries. Soft inquiries is they're basically pulling a quick snapshot of your credit scores and seeing if you're at least at the threshold, so bare minimum that they require. Some banks say want to see a bare minimum of 720, plus a strong report backing it. So they might do a soft pull. That doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to get approved every time they do a soft pull and they say you're pre-approved. They might start looking at other things and see that you don't have enough accounts and decline you. But a soft pull, they won't leave that on your credit report. Nobody will know that happened. A hard pull, they're going to pull your whole credit profile and analyze everything. Every little account that you got going on before they approve you. And they're going to let the world know that you came to them for credit. Too many of these inquiries on your credit report is going to make you look desperate. The banks do not want to deal with anybody desperate. They want to deal with people that don't really need the money, that they can show on paper that they don't need the money, basically. So you don't want to have too many inquiries. So ideally, about 4 inquiries and under is where you want to be at with all 3 credit bureaus. Okay. Let me go here. Any questions on that section? Because this is pretty important.
So you're saying that the inquiries no more than 4 within 2 years, or 4 within a set period of time? Can you elaborate on that?
So ideally within the last 12 months, you want to be around 4 inquiries. If you want to make your report look strong, you want to make it look like you're getting approved, because you got to think about it. This is how many times you've attempted. How many times people said yes to you? Okay. So when you have more inquiries than you have open accounts, they're going to be like, well, why do all these other companies deny you? Why did they not want to give you a chance? But now you're coming to us. Just like Terrence said earlier, like, why didn't your bank give you some money? You're coming to us off the street asking us for money. How come they didn't deal with you? So you want to make sure you painting a picture that you're trustworthy and that you're credible enough to get these type of lending products that they're offering by making sure that you have the right profile set up, meaning limited inquiries.
And Donovan,
make sense?
So when he says 4 inquiries,
yes,
I want you to be mindful that he's talking about the individual credit agencies. Okay, so that'll be a total of 12. All right, if it's 4 across Equifax, 4 across TransUnion, and 4 across Experian, now you got 12.
Got you.
Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So when it comes to late payments, you can kind of, one thing I like about Smart Credit is they make it really easy to tell what a late payment is. It doesn't take long to see what a late payment is. I think, if I'm even explaining it, somebody can point out a late payment here already. So when you're coming on here, like I said, they're going to show you a version of your credit, each account side by side, and what's going on with that account, right? So every time you see a green okay for that particular month, you're good. Gray basically means that there was no data collected, and then anything other than green or gray is something negatively being reported. So like I said, you have a 30-day, then you have a 60-day. And some banks don't play. Open Sky right here, they did 30, 60, and they went up to 90 days, and then they went ahead and just closed this account down. They were like, hey, you were late 90 days. We're not going to even mess around with this. like your balance is already a little high. We're just gonna go ahead and close this countdown. And they deemed it as a charge off. So you'll see a CO when you see like COs underneath the accounts, that's considered a charge off. And then they'll call it either a charge off collection or just a collection or a charge off. But you'll see a CO underneath the account quite a bit when it's a charge off. All right.
Hold on, Darren. Hold on, Darren. So, guys, I want you to pay attention to this slide right here for a second, right? Now, Darren said that if there's a gray, which normally has an ND in it, if it's reflecting no data, I want you guys to understand how important this is, right? 35% of your credit history is based upon 35% of your credit report scoring is based upon history. So if in fact you don't see history being reported on certain days, it affects your credit score. So what I'm saying is that if November and December was actually supposed to be green, but they're gray, well, that's reducing your credit score on your credit report. And you need to call them and tell them that you were on time for those particular months. You follow what I'm saying? It's very important that you guys understand this because you can be losing points on your credit report, right? You can be losing points on your credit report right now just because of the lack of information that's not showing up in a positive way on your credit report. Are you guys following that?
We got a question from Mr. John Sweeney.
Go ahead.
Did you mean call each bureau?
Say it again.
Did you mean to call each bureau if something's not right? Or smart credit?
Elaborate when you say call each bureau for something.
Oh, you said if it's not showing as green that you've paid on time, then it's not good if you did pay on time. So should you be calling smart credit or the bureau themselves? Each of the
Oh, no,
bureaus?
you call the bureau themselves. Smart credit's only reporting information. That's all it's doing. You call the
Gotcha.
bureau themselves.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and be mindful of that when you are calling them. That there's no law, there's no requirement for them to report data, right? It's in their best incentive to report negative data to incentivize you to make sure that you be on time with them. It's in their best interest to report negative data so they can try to collect that payment from you. But there's nothing that requires them to report that information, positively. So you want to really make sure that when you're contacting them, that you're putting your best foot forward and kind of asking that, hey, can you make sure that this is reported?
Hold on
You
for a
can also
second,
do a
man.
dispute. But go ahead, sorry.
Because here's the situation. Everything on your credit report has to be 100% accurate. Okay, it's not 95, it's not 85, it's 100% accurate. So if you take away 3, 4, 5 months of me actually making positive payment histories on time, you're not reporting accurate information. So they have to switch that around. If there's no data that's actually being reported, it's because there's no activity and no data had to be reported, right? But if I actually had a payment that was made on time, they're required to report that because it's accurate information. All right, just to make it clear, they need to report that.
So what I'm referring to on the reporting side is meaning that, like, let's say they can report it to Experian and then not report it to Equifax. So if you see an account not showing up, you can go ahead and contact them and request that show up on Equifax, but they're not required to report to all three, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. So if you see something that's missing data on Equifax or TransUnion, you can call up there and basically say, hey, listen, can you guys report this? Or you can even do what they call a reverse dispute, where you're doing a dispute to get that account added to TransUnion or Equifax or Experian if it's not showing up on three. Yeah.
We got a question,
All right,
Cynthia, before you move forward.
Yes, thank you. My question is the opposite. If one credit reporting agency remove an account, does that obligate the others? Is there some kind of compliance code or law, or they don't have to follow that if one move an account for whatever reason? Oh, inaccurate information in a request to remove it.
Wanzo, you want to take that one?
I'm sorry, I
Am I-
thought she was talking to you. I'm sorry, Cynthia. Okay, if you want, go ahead. What's your question? I'm sorry, I apologize.
I'm doing the opposite of requesting them to add an account. I'm asking if uh, a particular TransUnion, for example, removed an account that Experience has and maybe Equifax has. Do they have to follow if TransUnion removes the account? And you're asking all of them to remove the account for inaccurate information. The accounts are inaccurate.
So you said that one removed it and you're requesting the other two to remove it? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Do the other two have to remove it also? That's
Well,
what I'm asking.
again, right? Everything on your credit report has to be 100% accurate. So the way I normally deal with those type of situations is that um everything on your credit report, any modifications that's made, documentation is always sent to your house, right? You always get documentation about any modifications made to your credit report, whether something was changed, whether it stayed the same, whether they deleted something, they send you documentation. So if in fact you got an account that was deleted off your credit report, you take that information from Experian, for example, and you take that information and you send it into Equifax and TransUnion, letting them know that this account was already deleted. So therefore, that eliminates any way for them to verify, for them to validate anything that could possibly happen with that account. Because if one couldn't do it, none of them should be able to do it. So now you have an inaccuracy across the board. But it's very important for you to keep your documentation. That's the biggest part. Because see, we can have a conversation. I can say, well, Cynthia said this or Cynthia said that. That can always change. But one thing that don't ever change, guys, is black and white. That's why you get it in writing. It's very important for you to let the credit bureaus respond before you start sending off a number of different letters for the same type for the same um error on your credit report that you're trying to attack. Wait to see what they say. Now you got them. Because as soon as they say verified or validated, you already know they more than likely are fabricating the truth. So now it's like, what do you do with it from that point? Does that make sense, Cynthia?
Yes, yeah, it did. What you said is to keep keep the documentation that it was deleted, and then um as for I'm not sure what you said after that. I mean, to help the other credit repair, I mean, credit reporting agent uh, uh, follow suit with TransUnion. That's what I used as an example. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I followed. Uh,
If here's the thing, Cynthia, if one couldn't prove it, how can the other ones do it? It's not possible. So once one deleted, they all have to delete it.
Lead it. Yeah. Okay.
This just to be honest with you, it's just that simple. One deleted, they all have to delete it. I done used that method too many times. All right, you good? Okay, all right. Go ahead, Darren.
Okay. So I'm going to slightly touch on this because I know we covered a lot of this already. But if you're just doing some simple disputes and you want to remove maybe some late payments off of a particular account, you can, go into ChatGPT and use one of the basic laws that I like to use. A lot of times I have a lot of success with this, drafting it up the right way, which is 15 USC 1666 billing error, which is basically putting them on notice that there is an error in the billing section of that particular account. And a couple of good things about this is when you're sending this letter, you're putting them on notice, you're sending this directly to the creditor, you're putting them on notice that there's an error. According to consumer law, during this period of time, they can't even consider you late at this point. They can't even collect on you until this error is corrected, till this dispute is corrected. And you don't have to necessarily point out what the error is. You can just let them know that you found an error, and it's up to them to kind of determine that. And a lot of times they much rather just correct that error than allow you to not have to pay them, in that period of time. So you can kind of use this law to kind of start getting some of these late payments off and getting some results. The next one, when it comes to collections, you can use ChatGPT with some of these collections, and you can be simply asking for a debt validation, and any of these third-party collection agencies that are trying to collect on you. And you can ask a couple of things. You can ask if they're licensed in your state to even collect on you. You can ask for an original contract that shows your signature with this particular collection agency. You can ask for them to show you a series of things of how they purchased that debt. So you can go in there and ask for and use ChatGPT to create a debt validation letter. Okay. And then if you have charge-off accounts, where they are showing balances, you can go in there and request from the original creditor a 1099 form. And then you can use that 1099 form. And what a 1099 form is, just to kind of go over that again, that means that they went and they charged that account off. Okay. They went to the government, they got that account as charged off as a loss. Okay. So if it's a loss in their end, somebody made a profit, meaning that you made a profit. So you're asking a 1099, so now you can declare this on your taxes. Okay, so if it's profit, you cannot have profit on your credit report. That's the reason why you don't see anybody's annual income on their credit report. So when you send that 1099 in and dispute that with the credit reporting agencies, that's another way that you can actually start getting some deletions off of these charge-offs. Okay, let's jump to the next one here. So another thing is just really understand what your credit report is made up of. So we know that our scores range as low as a 300 and as high as an 850. So how do we get to this 850 FICO score, this picture perfect FICO score that everybody wants to achieve? Okay, so you got to understand the point system here. So what Wanzo was talking about earlier is your payment history. They want to see a strong payment history on every one of your accounts that you have. That is literally 35% of your score. So at 35% of 850, that's 297.5 points of your score. Is just making sure that you have plenty of on-time payments reporting on your account. Okay. The next thing is utilization. 30% of your score is your utilization, the amount that you owe at the end of your statement date, not your due date, your statement date. So when you're looking at your credit card, you got a due date. Let's say it's on the 1st. You have a statement date on the 5th. The statement date is when they're going to actually go and report you to the credit bureaus and say, hey, this is what their balances are. Okay. So they want to see at the end of the month, if they gave you a $100 credit card, they want to see that you use no more than 20% of that $100 credit card. If you start using more than that, you're going to see your scores start to drop down. This is where that 250 points starts dropping down off your report, is because you're starting to use more than the favorable amount of your utilization that they would like to see. So you want to keep it below 20% at any given time. So when you're paying your credit card, you pay it down on your due date. You figure out when your statement date is. Do not use it again until after your statement date, because that's when after they told on you and all that, then cool, go crazy on the credit card. Make sure that you're just doing the same thing every month, paying it all the way down to 20% or less, before the due date, and not using it again until after the statement date. The next thing is the length of history. How long these accounts have been open. That's 127.5%. 127.5 points of your credit score, which makes up 15% of your score. So basically, when you're talking about length of history, a lot of people will have this experience where they have maybe an auto loan and they've been paying on it for 2 years and they think they're doing good. There's no late payments on it. They paid it all the way down. Next thing they know, that auto loan closes. And then their scores drop. And they're like, well, what the heck's going on? Like, I paid it on time. I don't owe anything on it. Why did my scores drop? It's because a lot of this data that they're going off and this calculation is going off of open accounts, which you are currently doing. Once it becomes a closed account, you lose all of that history. So if you got an account open for a long time, especially a credit card, it's more beneficial a lot of times to keep that account open than to allow it to close, because this is a long history of showing that you were creditworthy and you made your payments on time and all that stuff. Once it's closed, it's past tense. They don't care about that no more. Okay. And then the next one is your credit mix. So credit mix, they want to see that you went to different industries and balance different trade lines that you have. So installment accounts. Okay. They want to see that you have some loans in there. Revolving lines of credit. They want to see that you have some credit cards. Auto experience. They want to see you have that. You can even get payment history for your rent, reported in your credit report as a credit mix. This is allowing them to kind of see what's going on with the different accounts that you have and how you're handling those different types of accounts. So for example, you want to go get a $30,000 credit card, you want to at least reflect that on your credit report that you have something similar to that. All right, cool. I got a $20,000 credit card already. To start getting these high limits. They're not going to just take you from a $500 card to a $30,000 credit card because you had a credit card overnight. So you also want to reflect on your credit report what you're trying to achieve already, right? And then the next one is just new credit, the amount of new credit that you're getting. They want to see that people are still, our companies are still giving you business. They're still giving you credit and they're still trusting you, so then they can trust you also. So you want to have a decent amount of new credit accounts opened up, not too many, but a decent amount of credit accounts opened up recently in your credit report also to show that you are still actively being able to get approved for different companies. Okay. So some of the trade lines that I like to recommend people, I don't know why this one's not showing up. Magnum, I'm sure a lot of people are more familiar with Credit Strong. Magnum is a sister company of Credit Strong, and they will allow you to add installment lines of credit on your credit report for pretty reasonable pricing. So you can go and get a $30,000 Magnum Strong account, installment account, which is a loan on your credit report for $350. We're reporting. Now, this is going to be a monthly fee. So you kind of want to do this and add this on there around the time you're getting ready to start applying for credit, because that can get expensive, paying $350 every month. But this can be something that can help you open up those doors if you're trying to get a personal loan for $40,000, $50,000. This can help show that you've handled a decent limit of a personal loan in your credit report already. And then you also have Kovo Credit. I'm not sure why it's not popping up here, but you have Kovo Credit will also report an installment account in your credit report. So magnum.bank, kovocredit.com. This will allow you to start getting some installment credit report, installment lines of credit on your credit report. And then for revolving lines of credit, what is going on here? It would have messed up. My apologies, guys. I'm not sure why these pictures are not showing up properly. But you have Meet Ava. You go to meetava.com. Meet Ava is basically a subscription-based account. So what they'll do is they'll link all your subscription-based services that you might have. So let's say you got Cox Cable, you got your car insurance from Progressive, you got your T-Mobile bill. You can go in here and get a $2,500 line of credit from them. Even with bad credit, they'll approve you. They'll look at the different accounts that you are already paying. So they'll want you to connect with Plaid to your bank account, and they'll see the different accounts that you already have that you're paying. And based off of those accounts, they'll give you a trade line. And usually it ranges anywhere from $500 to $2,500, depending on the different accounts that you have that they see that you're already using. So you can get a $2,500 revolving line of credit reported on your credit report from Ava, even with bad credit while you're building it up. And then the next one is Credit AI, which is another revolving line of credit. It works like a Cash App. So you can go in there and put about $100 in there. The cool thing about this is whatever you load up on there, that's what you'll be able to use. They'll send you a titanium card, and they'll also give you a digital card that you can immediately use. Okay. And what they'll do is they'll report a $1,500 credit card on your credit report. Even if you put only $100 in there, they'll still report a $1,500 credit limit on your credit report. So now you can start showing some history with revolving lines of credit. Okay. The next one is another primary account, which is Rent Reporters. So if you want to actually start building some history at the same time and adding some of these accounts so they're not all so new, you can go to Rent Reporters and you can backdate your rent. So if you have mortgage or you have rent and you want to get that reported in your credit report, you can go to Rent Reporters and they can backdate this trade line for up to 2 years. Okay, up to 2 years. So as soon as they put that in your credit report, they're going to give you 2 years worth of history plus an ongoing account that you're basically paying every month, showing that you're paying your rent every month on time and getting that reported on your credit report also.
Question.
All right. Go ahead.
I have a question. How you doing? So when you're on the rent report that you're talking about, you said it works for mortgages?
Yeah, you can get mortgages reported on here also. So there's a couple of different companies that report that, but you can report your mortgage and you can report your rent on here on your credit report.
Okay, thank you. I only heard of the rent, but I didn't know the mortgage. But thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, hold up, Darren. So, and Darren, correct me if I'm wrong. When you're doing these accounts, I want you to make sure that you take out the time to see exactly what they report to. Because to my understanding, Darren, Rent Reporter doesn't go across all three.
No, they report to, my apologies for not mentioning this. They report to TransUnion and Equifax, but they do not report to Experian. The only one that, if you're trying to get all three is BoomPay. The reason why I didn't put on BoomPay on here is because BoomPay will make you use Plaid and log in. And so some people may not be using, paying directly out of their bank account. Some people may be being a little creative and using a credit card. And so if they don't see that particular account, they won't report your rent at all. If they don't see that in your bank. So with these ones, they don't require you to necessarily use Plaid. You can just basically send in a copy of your lease or a copy of your mortgage or something of that nature, and they can basically get that reported in your credit report. But they'll just report TransUnion and Experian. But the only one from what I've seen so far is BoomPay that reports to all three. And then the next one, if you want to really jump up, I'm gonna let you actually take this one away, Wanzo, with the trade lines, because this is a little bit more of your specialty here, sir.
Well, these are just authorized users, guys. Authorized users are actually used to help you enhance your credit report. Most of the time, you want to use the authorized users that has more than 3 to 5 years of history. Because as Darren showed you, that history is 35% of your credit score. And so when you add in that history, when you add in an authorized user, it affects certain parts of that credit pie that he had, that credit diagram, which I call the credit pie, that he had up earlier. So when you add in an authorized user, it's going to affect the payment history, 35%. It's going to affect the utilization. That's why when you go get when you go get an authorized user credit card, you want to make sure that it has a high limit on it, because that limit affects another 30% of the credit algorithm. Okay. So just between those two, you have 65%, right? And then you want to look at the length of how long has somebody been paying on this account. That's another 15%. So you're looking at 80% just between those three parts of your the credit pie, which is going to actually help your credit report. So when you're looking at authorized users, the length, the history, and the amount is very important, because it's going to play a major impact on increasing your credit score dramatically. So the bigger the amount of money, the better. But if it's got $40,000 on it and it's only 2 years old versus $40,000 and it's got 10 years of history, of course you want to go with the 10 years of history, right? You always want to go with the most amount of money with the most amount of history, okay? But they cost the most. So that's what that is, right? And so each one of these authorized users are based upon, the price is based upon what they can provide for you. So if it's got a ton of history, it's going to be a little bit more. If it's got less amount of history, then it's going to be much less. But they're definitely beneficial to you. And authorized users, when you obtain them, they normally only stay on your credit report for 60 days. That's the most amount of time people leave them on there. Because within 60 days, you're supposed to be able to go out and get what you need for yourself, right? They're only there for a short amount of time. However, when an authorized user is closed, the account doesn't disappear off your credit report. The history and everything is still there, but you lose the utilization, because now that account is closed. So if in fact you had $40,000 on there, you don't have $40,000 on there anymore. So now your credit report is going to take a dip, because you removed that amount of money that you had on there. And that's why you're supposed to replace that with your own primary trade lines to fulfill that and make that even larger or equal out the same. You guys got any questions about that?
Yeah. And then just to add to that too, it's like you don't want to fill your credit report with authorized users either. So you might want to have about 8. Huh?
The maximum amount
Was
of
that wrong?
authorized users you want on your credit report is 2. Don't put over 2, no matter what. Because what an underwriter is going to look at your credit report and say is that this is not your credit. I got a guy right now, his credit report, his credit is a 720. He got one primary trade line, about 10 authorized users.
Crazy.
And can't get
Another
nothing.
thing too, I've seen is when you're coming with the age, make sure it makes sense. I seen a guy, he was trying to get his 19-year-old son a trade line, and he wanted to get a 10-year-old trade line. You got to make sure it makes sense to the age of that person also, because if you're a younger person, listen to this, you want to make sure that trade line is going to make sense according to your age as well, because the bankers they're not dumb. They're going to be matching that stuff up and be like, hey, wait, 10 years old and you were 19. Wait, you were a child. What do you mean? You weren't. We're not going to even want to factor this in for you.
What Darren said is very important that you guys catch on to that. All right. So when you're going after these authorized users and you're looking to increase your credit report, these are all the small things that make a big difference that sometimes other people don't take out the time to describe to you guys. That's why I call this more of a strategy community, right? We want to explain to you the small details that make it make sense so you can make the most rational decision based upon your certain situation. You guys got any questions? Okay.
I do.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, how long do it take an authorized user to show or reflect on your credit report?
Well, like say for example, if someone, which one of the cards I tell you guys not to get, right? But if you have somebody that's going to put you on as authorized user for this, it's very beneficial. Discover normally reports your reports on your credit report within 7 to 14 days.
Okay.
All right. Well, others might take a whole billing cycle.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what's a primary user or
A
trade
primary
line?
user is an account that's actually yours. See, an authorized user is you're using someone else's credit to help you out, right? But primary card is something that it's actually yours. You filled out the application, you got approved. You're not approved as an authorized user, somebody else got approved, and you're just using their data to help enhance your credit report. Answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
You guys are very quiet. Either you guys already know all this stuff, or you're not paying attention to what we're saying. If you guys are paying attention, put a 1 in the chat. Let's see if you guys are even up to
We're
walk.
just focusing on the information for right now.
Is that
Wanzo,
what
I have a question.
Shoot.
What about I say if I have a charge off, ain't no better at the time and I paid for it, but there's no 1099 for
You
Capital
said you don't
One.
have you don't have a 1099?
No, they don't. They didn't do the 1099. I went to I looked it up through the IRS and I called Capital One. They ain't reporting the 1099 for it. And I paid it last 23 and around July,
You
August.
paid hold on, wait, hold on. You paid what? You said it's a charge off, right?
Right.
So what did you pay? It's charged off. You
Right.
paid
What? So what I paid was it was like you said, an old balance on there to settle the balance. That's before I knew anything. And because when I paid it, they said paid in full at a lesser amount. Like one of the comments in the on the credit report.
it was the original
Right?
creditor?
Yeah, it was with Capital One.
Did the charge off have a balance on it on your credit
Yeah.
report?
Yes.
Well, that was an error right there. That's how you could have got it deleted. Charge off should never
Yeah.
have a balance
Right.
because it's
And I
charged
know,
off, right?
right. It's charged off, and then it says on there like I paid it at a lesser balance or a lesser amount. But I was like, shouldn't they write that off as a 1099?
They should always give you a 1099. Some people are saying it depends on the amount of money that's being owed.
Right.
However, I'm sure that's not the truth because if you charge something off, it's a process that has to be followed anyway. So every charge off should require a 1099. So
Okay.
if they never gave you a 1099, then make a complaint to the CFPB that they never gave you a 1099 and you want this information required removed off your credit report due to their lack of ability to share the information that you're supposed to have. Because what happens is that a charge off, when they give you a charge off, when they give you a 1099, that becomes income to you.
Right.
And you have to report that to the IRS.
Right.
So how they gonna charge off something and not give you a 1099 and then get paid money? You
I
get what
guess
I'm saying? They
no,
can't
I get what you're
so
saying, but like,
so to answer your
okay.
question, I would actually go back into that account. I would take a look at it. Is it still a balance on there right now?
I have to look at it to make sure. I don't want to tell you nothing that's
All
not
right.
true. Yeah.
Look at it, make sure if it's a balance, then that's an error. If they've been reporting a charge off for the over a month, because it should be only one charge off on there. If they continue to report as a charge off, then they're in violation because they're resetting the age of the account. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
you want to look at what you call the last date of activity, right? Which is on your
Mm-hmm.
account. The last date of activity is the last time that you actually made a payment on that account. Okay. That's what the
Mm-hmm.
last date of activity is. If that date changed, then they're aging the account. And they can't age the account because it's illegal. And you will never, your 7 years, by the way,
Would
guys, negative
would never.
accounts don't stay on
Mm-hmm.
your credit report for 7 years. It's 7 years and 6 months, just to let you know. Okay? You want to be technical. All right. So that the clock never starts ticking on your account if they're changing the date of when your last activity was.
Right. Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Darren, did you want to put
And
anything
then
in there, Darren?
just jump in and just add something to that too, is when you're looking at that and you're going off of re-aging and the date of last activity, one of the best sites you want to do if you're not, which I love Smart Credit and I love some of these third-party sites, but you can't legally hold them liable from the third-party site. You have to go to annualcreditreport.com and get your free annual credit report. That's the only thing that you can hold them liable for when it comes to the violations, if you're trying to go after them potentially to do like arbitration or a lawsuit or something like that for violating you. So you might want to look at annualcreditreport.com on that situation and just see what they're reporting and see if it's a continuous charge off being reported on annualcreditreport.com also.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Darren, you said you can't hold them liable on what now? Say that again. So
on a third-party credit reporting agency. So if it's a third-party credit reporting, Identity IQ, Smart Credit, all those third-party companies, they can't be held legally liable because that's not coming directly from TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. What can be held legally liable is what's coming directly.
Okay, all right, I got you. Because I'm like, you're talking about TransUnion, Experian, Equifax. I'm like, what you got in that water?
No.
I was going to ask you what you got in that water over there.
I understand it. Now, if you're getting it directly from Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, you're fine. But if you're trying to go off the data off of, Smart Credit, Identity IQ, or MyFICO, some of those things they can wiggle the way out of it by basically simply saying we didn't report that. That's a third party. So you want to really hold them accountable for what they are actually reporting. So you can get that directly from their sites, or you can go to Annual Credit Report. If you don't want to pay for their credit monitoring, you can go to Annual Credit Report and get a free one. Boom. All right. Any questions? You're on mute, Wanzo.
Did that answer your question, Marlon? Are you good?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
And that is actually it for me, guys. So you want to take it away, Wanzo? I am good. I got everything that I wanted to cover on the basics as far as before we go into these banks, what we kind of want to be doing and looking at. So yeah, if you want to add on to that, Wanzo, that's pretty much everything that I have to cover.
No, we pretty much covered everything, right? In regards to what we wanted to cover. We just want to make sure that you guys have some insight on how business bankers think, which is important, right? We wanted to make sure that you understood the small things that may be affecting your ability to get funding on your credit report. Everything matters. This is one thing I want you guys to keep in mind. If it's on your credit report, if it's on there, no matter what it is, understand what it is and why it's on there. It's not on there for no reason. Read your credit report. Understand what the last date of activity is. Understand what the dates are, when the last time you paid on there. Understand, compare those dates from between Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. They're different. Those are errors, right? Those are errors that you can legally use to get stuff deleted because everything on your credit report needs to be 100% accurate. All right. What I'm trying to tell you guys, take out the time, look at your credit report, ask these questions. What does this mean? What does that mean? Because that's how I learn, right? I ask, what does this mean? What does that mean? And what is it for? That's how I was able to tell you guys about the last day of activity with the live I did with Herman. Because I found out, oh, that's what that means. Well, I know I didn't pay on this in January, but they saying that I did. Why did they say that? They said that so they can prolong the history of that account being on my credit report. That's why they said that. There's no other reason for them to do it. Whenever somebody does something on a credit report in regards to you, it's only a benefit to them. It's never a benefit to you unless it's going to be deleted. Okay. So you guys need to keep that in mind. All right. So, do we got any more questions before we get ready to close out?
Miss Cynthia.
Anybody?
Go ahead, Miss Cynthia.
What's that?
I have a question in regards to the credit report that he showed, particularly the charge-off, had the first charge-off, it had a second one the following month, the third one, a fourth one. It had four charge-off, one after another. That is considered illegal?
Darren, you want to address that? Darren, take your mute off.
Sorry, that's considered a violation. My apologies. I wouldn't say it's illegal. It's considered a violation because it's called re-aging the account. Because you're like what Wanzo was saying. They're going off the date of last activity. Okay, the date of last activity for the statute of limitations. So when you're re-aging that account and making it look like that was more of a reoccurring event, than what it was, then you're basically creating a violation there because you cannot do that. They're only going off the date of last activity. So you have to make sure that if you see something like that, that you draft that up. You don't have to necessarily quote any kind of crazy laws. Just be like, hey, from my understanding, it appears that you guys are re-aging this account. Please explain to me how this is possible. Like, let them provide the proof of everything because you want to use their own words against them.
Okay. So I got 17 re-aging. I got 17 charge off month after month after month. That's over a year. That would be re-aging over a year.
Exactly. What are you using to look at your credit report right now?
Say it again.
What are you using to look at your credit report right now? Experian
sent me a real credit report for the first time.
Okay. That's so what I would do after that point is you can give them the chance to try to correct it by asking for a procedural investigation and sending out a letter to them. And just, you don't have to point out what you see or anything like, just be like, hey, my understanding is that it appears that you guys might be re-aging this account. Can you please do a procedural reinvestigation?
Well, the account is closed. It stopped.
Yeah, if it's a charge, it's definitely going to be closed if it's a charged off account.
Yeah. So the last re-aging was like January or February this year. Okay, I'll address it. And so, okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Great talk. Great presentation.
No worries. Thank you.
Miss English.
Okay, guys. Anything else? Oh,
yeah, we got Miss English.
Gotta turn your camera on. We ain't talking to you. We already said we ain't gonna talk to you without your camera. Truck, we need to see the truck, see how the truck doing. You know what I'm saying? We got a couple. Brad, don't you got some stuff you need a load? You got a load. No, we got some because Brad deals with trailer homes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he deals with trailer homes. That's what Brad does. That's his other main gig. So now you got somebody on team, Brad, that come get a trailer home. How about that?
Let's go.
I don't plan on being in this truck for more than 8 more weeks. I'm counting down to my last couple hours at this moment to wait. Anyway, though.
Well, come on this side. We can show you how to get some money on this
I'll
side.
run. I'm everything I got, I'll invest it. But I have a question. I have a repossession on my report, and it actually turned into like a lawsuit. How do I get that off, or how do I go about that, or starting that, or whatever?
Dan, you want to attack, or you want me to attack?
Is that when you say it turned into a lawsuit? Is that it's still in the process of a lawsuit, or did you already get a default judgment?
They sent paperwork to my house, but since I'm never home, I never got the paperwork. I just seen it through my mail files, and then I looked it up online, and yeah, the the finance company. They want their money, so.
Did they
But I
send you
still
a
have the
letter
car.
where did they send you a letter of where and when this car was going to actually be sold?
I still have it.
But you accepted it.
I never responded to them. I never responded to them. There was like a verbal agreement that I made with the finance company a while ago, and they were gonna like take a certain amount off. So when I went to go pay, they were like, nope, it had already went to their lawyer. And I was like, this is only 2 weeks later. So I was like, forget it, I'm not paying it. But I went to the lawyer and she was just having a whole, I don't know, weird thing going on. So I was like, I'm not paying it. But that was like 2 years ago.
So I'll let Darren take a shot at it, and
So
then
yeah,
yeah.
if it's already 2 years ago, then that means they basically already took you to court, and they got a default judgment against you. You know,
Right.
these court proceedings don't take that long for them to get those default. All you got to do is miss one court case, you know, and the judge ready to go ahead and automatically put you at default and give them that default judgment. So what's probably going to be showing up is what you probably want to be challenging at that point is the court proceeding records of what really happened there, because you're at this point you can't really challenge the debt. You know, even if you hired an attorney, a lot of attorneys are going to just be like, hey, this is a default judgment, this is the highest form of a collection that somebody can have. There's really not much they can do other than try to maybe negotiate a payment plan for you. So, you know, as far as the debt goes, they can try to negotiate a payment plan for you. But as far as the reporting goes, you can start reporting, because again, this is information that's put into public records, that's put into Pacers, that's being picked up by LexisNexis, and then now it's being reported. But the court is not directly communicating with these credit reporting agencies. So you can go there and ask for a validation of debt, a validation of the reporting of that particular account. And then you can even contact, you know, any court that you can go to where that court proceeding happened at, and request maybe if you can send them a letter requesting like, hey, what do you guys report this information to the credit reporting agencies? And they can send you a letter back. And this is very similar to what you'll be doing with the bankruptcy. They'll send you a letter back. Hey, we do not communicate with any third party reporting agencies, blah, blah, blah. So then you can take that letter and send that in as a dispute, and attaching with a simple debt validation letter, basically being like, how did you guys really validate this debt? Because it's supposed to, if you're validating it during the process of the investigation, you're supposed to talk to the original creditor, you know, the original person that sued me. And if you can't communicate with this person because they went to court, how can you validate this information, right? So that would be the process that I would take that down.
So let me throw something in there, just so you'll know, right? One of the things you always want to be aware of is that when someone's coming after you for money, they have to actually, like kind of what Darren was saying, validate that debt, right? So did you have gap insurance at this time?
Gap insurance? No.
Okay.
Meaning what? What's that exactly?
Gap insurance is when you actually purchase a car, and you know when you buy a car, it loses value, right? But because say like the car is only worth, say you paid 20,000 for the car, but when they came and got the car was only worth 5,000, or say 10,000, but you still owe 15,000, right?
Oh, okay.
So that gap in between there, which is $5,000, you still are responsible for because you signed the legal binding documents on that agreement. Gap insurance, if something was to happen, actually pays until that 5,000, so you're not responsible for it. So what happens is that a lot of times these repos, sometimes gap insurance kicks in, and the amount of money that you actually owe them is not valid because gap took care of some of it. So you want to see if you had gap insurance, if they actually paid out to that actual repo company or that actual financial institution, because if they paid out to that financial institution, then the amount of money that's owed or due to them is not valid. So they did something illegal.
I don't think so though, because it was repo before, like a month before, or maybe it was 2 months. I don't know. Whenever I'm on the road, to be honest, if it's not coming directly out of my account, I don't know what's going on.
No, but I'm just trying to give you some awareness so you'll be aware of what you could possibly look at and what you could possibly do. We don't
Yes.
know your history in regards to the actual account, so we can only give you what we're aware of when we come
Okay.
across these type of accounts. That's what I'm trying to give. I'm
Mhm.
trying to give you the fuel you need in order to try to deal with something like this nature, right?
Okay.
And if in fact that information is not correct as far as amount owed, that's one of the main things that you can deal with for the repo. And the other thing is that it's always important when you're dealing with certain situations, never ever to accept certified mail from somebody that's coming after you for something.
Okay.
Because if you never got that mail, then one of the things that you could have utilized is the simple fact that they did not give you the opportunity to get your car back. So it's their responsibility to say, hey, this car is being sold at this date, on this time, at this location. Because you're the first person supposed to have the opportunity to get the car. And if they didn't give you that, that was in violation. That's a state violation. Make sense?
That makes sense. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
And then another thing.
Go ahead.
I was going to add one more thing to that. I see a lot of people, let's say you did get, that summons and you took that certified mail. A lot of times, if you just go to the courthouse records and request a proper debt validation and report that as your response into the courthouse records, they might not even have enough documentation to prove that you owe that debt. And that can shut down the lawsuit a lot of times that way. A lot of people, your best time to defend a lawsuit is when it's beginning. But if you wait until after the judgment, even you hire an attorney, there's really nothing they can do for you.
Yeah, because it was closed out by the judge. That's why you try to things like that. You try to jump in front of. You should always listen. If you guys are still on here, you should always try to jump in front of that stuff if you can. So in your situation, like I wouldn't have probably accepted the stuff from the financial institution for a certified mail, but anything from the court, I would always accept. You get what I'm saying? You always accept stuff from the court, but not from like individual companies, because that's not going to be in your best interest, right? Because they know that they're sending you documentation making you aware of something. But if they send you documentation and you never get it, then you never had the opportunity to do anything about it. And it's the burden of proof is on them to show that you actually received that information. Make sense? See, that's something that you can actually take to court and use as leverage. Well, I didn't know nothing about this. They never sent me the information for this. And then you say, well, we did. Well, where is it at then? Prove it to me. Where, give me the certified mail with receipt. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, that's how I was gonna go about it initially, because like I said, I'm never home and it was left at my apartment building. It wasn't even in my mailbox, but I seen it scanned through my mail service. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So hopefully that helps you out. Any other questions before we close out? King David, you late, man. We about to close out. We was waiting on you. You missed a great session. You gonna turn your camera on to say hello to the people?
Trying right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You late, man.
Hey,
You like Dougie Fresh, man.
man,
Dougie Fresh, young.
that's my apologies.
What's going on, my brother? How are you?
Oh man, bless. Hey, finally you can put a face with the name.
We got the whole team on
We
here.
chopped it up earlier.
You got Danny, you got Brad, and then you got myself, and then the rest of the family on here. You kind of missed a good one, man. But this will be reposted sometime tonight or in the morning. Whenever Brad get those fingers to working. And then you can kind of see some of the stuff that we covered, which is very beneficial. As we went into we had a business banker on the phone on the Zoom tonight, and we covered in regards to some things that you need to have on your credit report in order to get business funding and things of that nature. So it was a really good session. I think everybody enjoyed it, but you just came way late. You got any questions while we on here? You'll be the last person to take questions from if anybody else doesn't have anything.
So like I was saying to you,
You're breaking up. Paula, are you there? Brad, don't you know a few hours when they say, caller, are you there? It's gonna be a fun community, man. We ain't always gotta be that serious, y'all. We can laugh and learn at the same time. This community will be a little different. All right. All right. I think we lost David. Me and
Hey,
Dave.
Wanzo, real quick.
Yeah, what you got?
one little question though.
Okay.
Hold on, hold on.
Go ahead, let King David go. I was here. Go ahead.
What's up? Go ahead, Dave. David?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically what I wanted to know, I know you got to do it yourself, but like I said, for me, I rather just pay. So when I do pay, am I going to be dealing with you, or am I dealing with the young man that called me earlier? Because it was somebody that called me earlier from your group.
You're gonna be
Because he
dealing with
asked me, did I want to do it for myself, or did he want me for him to do it?
Well, we can take this offline, but you'll be dealing with both. I'm always involved in everything that's going on, so no worries about that.
Okay, okay. Now
If
I just wanted to
that's your
make sure.
concern.
Okay, I
That's it.
appreciate that.
No, I got you. No worries. Marlon, what you got, bro?
Hey, I just wanted to I know earlier I know we had talked. I had sent you the email for the CEO emails a while back, and
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? You sent me what?
the emails for the CEOs.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in when Herm thing, and I sent it to American Express, and I got it off a late I had on there, and I know you asked me to send it to you. I sent it to you. Was you able to use it for yourself? I don't know if you did or you just had it on file.
No, I like to have stuff like that on file.
Okay,
Just so like, see, you always want to go to the table with everything loaded, man. You know what I'm saying? If you got
I
certain
got
things
you.
that can be put in place, you just always have them in place, just in case you need them.
I hope you got your gun loaded the way you looking.
Yeah, man, I heard a whole bunch of gunfire over here. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
because I know I had sent it to you because we said it through Herm stuff, and I had did it with the email, and I know we had talked on the messenger, and I sent it to you. I didn't know if you needed it or you, like you said, you just was stacking your guns up,
no, and that was shared. That was shared amongst the group. So guys, if
Right.
in fact you didn't look in there, please look for the list that Marlon sent out. It should be in gems, right? And it's a list of CEOs emails, right? And the benefit of that is to be able to get in touch with them directly so you don't have to go through the middleman and explain your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been very beneficial. As
And
Marlon
it
said, you
worked.
were able to get his stuff off your credit report with that?
Yeah, I had a late of like 2000 and say two, and I emailed the CEO. Within 24 hours, a rep called me, and she said, "Give me 7 days." Gave her 7 days. She called me back and said, "We're going to remove it." So all through that, I contacted the CEO, and that's when I put it on Bella Sloan.
And
You
what
know,
what account was that?
that was a American Express account, a credit card.
Yeah, so American Express. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you guys a story about American Express real quick, and then we'll close this out. So American Express, right? And I'll show you how this works. American Express I applied for a credit card with American Express, and they end up pulling my credit report twice, right? And I'm telling you this so you can understand the power of knowledge. So I said, hey, I want this other inquiry pulled off my credit report. Um, They said, no, we can't remove it because everything we do has to have accurate information. So I put in a complaint through the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This was years ago, right? Years ago. And I got a call from the executive office of American Express, okay? Because normally when you're dealing with the CFPB, it goes to the executive branch of most companies because now you're dealing with a potential lawsuit legal from a very high powerful entity, okay? So they want the best of the best to be looking at this because they don't want any problems. So when she called me, she explained to me, Mr. Wanzo, we can't remove this off of your credit report because we get audited and this information has to be 100% accurate. Well, unfortunately for her, she didn't know and understand that I'm a dude that used to be not just an engineer, not just an architect, but an enterprise architect. So that means some of the stuff I used to do involved auditing. Okay. And so I said, well, if that's the case, if you're concerned about being you know, caught up on your auditing report, then you done already lost because I only got one credit app, but I got 2 inquiries from you. So your audit is already going to be off. See, I caught her in something she didn't know I was educated about. That's why I try to educate you guys on everything. So if you don't know what that means, is that for one application, you should only have one inquiry from American Express. You shouldn't have 2. So you done already failed your audit already. She said, hold on. And when she came back on the phone, she said, this will be deleted off your credit report tomorrow. And it was. All right. That's the power of knowledge and knowing what you're doing and what to use, when to use it, and who to use it against. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. All right. So hopefully you got something out that story. If you guys don't have any other questions, we will see you guys on, Brad. When is the next meeting here? Let's do this again Tuesday, right?
Next Thursday.
Thursday? Which one?
Are we gonna switch it to back to Tuesday, or are we gonna keep it Thursday?
I mean, I'm sorry, Thursday. I got so much going on with the mentorship and all this other stuff, man. I know my brain is fried. So we'll see you guys next Thursday. We will send out an update in regards to what we're going to cover, right? And maybe I'll have another special guest speaker come on. But you guys, please, 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 if in fact you're getting information that you feel that's valued in this group, please feel free to share it with your family members and friends so they can get educated so we all can be able to get in position to go get the bag. Because one thing I want you guys to know and understand, right, is that banks are willing to give you the money. They're willing to give you the money. They don't want to hold on to the money. It have nothing to do with it. You just have to be in position to get it. Please don't forget that. They want to give you the money. If they got $9 billion in the bank, what they gonna do with it? It's just sitting there. What they gonna do with it? They're looking for you. You just have to make yourself readily available. Do you guys get that? Everybody get that? I can't see nobody. Everybody gone. So anyway, hopefully you guys got something out of this tonight. And if in fact you don't mind sharing with us your great takeaways within the group, it would be greatly appreciated and help us enhance what we're trying to do for this community. All right. Other than that, Brad, you want to go ahead and close it out?
Yes, sir. Once again, appreciate everybody's time. I will have the replay up by tonight. So if you guys missed the beginning, you'll be able to get into that while you're in that mode. Like Wanzo said, let's make sure we drop all our gems and biggest takeaways into the community in the school group. Okay. Don't hold on to it to yourself. Go ahead and spread the love, spread the word. And like I always tell you guys, make sure you share this community with a friend and a family member. That way they can get some of these gems too, and they can live and learn and earn just like yourself. With that being said, guys, we closing out, and I'm out. And do it the Wanzo way.
The Wanzo way. All right. All right. Peace.
The Wanzo way.
Right.